Welcome to Fairy Tales English Journey. Today we will explore a beautiful story about a little bird. Have you ever wondered what makes something truly special? Is it perfect shiny feathers or a warm beating heart? Let us discover the beautiful difference between a mechanical toy and real life together right now. Long ago in the vast lands of ancient China, there lived a powerful emperor. He resided in the most magnificent palace ever built by human hands. The walls were made of delicate porcelain that gleamed in the bright sunlight. Beautiful blooming flowers filled the gardens with sweet fragrances all year round perfectly. Beyond the beautiful gardens, there was a deep and mysterious forest. This forest stretched all the way to the deep blue sea. Tall trees provided shade for many wonderful creatures living there. Among these creatures was a tiny brown bird called a nightingale. The little bird sang the most beautiful songs ever heard. Travelers from all over the world came to visit the grand city. They admired the magnificent palace and the bright, colorful gardens. However, when they heard the sweet song of the nightingale, they stopped walking. Everyone agreed that the simple bird was the most wonderful thing in the entire great kingdom. Many wise scholars wrote thick books about the grand city and the palace. They praised the beautiful gardens and the delicate porcelain walls, but they always saved their highest praise for the little nightingale. The emperor sat on his golden throne and read these thick books with great pride and joy. One day, the emperor read a very interesting passage in a new book. The book stated that the nightingale was the absolute best thing in his empire. The powerful emperor was very surprised by this bold statement. He had never even heard of this little bird living in his own forest. The emperor immediately called his chief minister to the grand throne room. He demanded to know why he had never seen this famous bird. The chief minister was very nervous and bowed low to the ground. He admitted that he had never heard of the nightingale before this very strange moment. The powerful emperor ordered the chief minister to find the little bird. He wanted the nightingale to sing for him that very evening. The chief minister ran to the palace asking everyone about the bird. None of the wealthy lords or elegant ladies knew anything about the little brown singing bird. Finally, the chief minister found a poor little girl in the kitchen. She smiled and said she knew the nightingale very well. Every evening she walked to the deep forest to listen to its sweet song. The beautiful music always made her forget her hard work and brought her great joy. The chief minister promised the little girl a permanent position in the kitchen. In return, she had to lead them to the famous nightingale. Half the royal court followed the little girl into the deep, dark forest. They walked past tall trees and listened carefully for any sound of sweet music. Suddenly, a cow began to moo loudly in a nearby green meadow. The royal courtiers thought it was the famous nightingale singing its song. The little girl laughed and explained that it was only a simple cow. They continued walking deeper into the thick forest, searching for the little brown bird. A few minutes later, some green frogs began to croak in a pond. The wealthy lords clapped their hands and praised the beautiful music. Once again, the little girl smiled and corrected their silly mistake. She pointed towards the high branches where a tiny brown bird was sitting very quietly alone. The royal courtiers were very disappointed by the plain appearance of the bird. They expected a famous singer to have bright and colorful feathers. The little girl politely asked the nightingale to sing for the royal visitors. The tiny bird opened its beak and began to sing a very lovely melody. The sweet music filled the quiet forest with absolute magic and wonder. The chief minister was completely amazed by the pure and gentle sound. He invited the little bird to perform at the grand palace that evening. The nightingale gladly accepted the royal invitation to sing for the great, powerful emperor. The entire porcelain palace was decorated with many thousands of bright golden lamps. Beautiful flowers were placed in every hallway and grand room. The emperor sat on his high golden throne waiting for the special performance. The tiny brown bird flew into the room and landed on a special golden perch. The little nightingale began to sing with all its pure and gentle heart. The music was so beautiful that tears filled the eyes of the emperor. The sweet tears rolled down his royal cheeks as he listened closely. The tiny bird sang even sweeter melodies that touched everyone in the room. The emperor was so pleased that he offered the bird his golden slipper. The nightingale politely refused the heavy golden reward with a soft chirp. The little bird explained that the tears of the emperor were enough reward. Seeing a powerful ruler cry from pure joy was the greatest treasure ever. From that day on, the nightingale lived inside the grand porcelain palace. The little bird had its own elegant cage made of pure shiny silver. 12 royal servants walked with the bird whenever it went outside. They held silken strings tied to its tiny legs to keep it from escaping into the sky. The whole city talked about the wonderful bird and its beautiful sweet songs. People would greet each other by humming the famous melodies in the street. The tiny brown bird brought endless joy to the entire vast kingdom. However, the poor bird missed the freedom of the deep green natural forest. One morning, a large wooden box arrived at the grand porcelain palace. The box had the word Nightingale written on the outside in gold letters. The emperor opened the heavy box and found a beautiful mechanical toy bird. It was covered in sparkling diamonds and bright red rubies and green sapphires. The mechanical bird looked exactly like a real nightingale, but much more expensive. When the emperor wound it up, the toy began to sing a song. Its shiny silver tail moved up and down in perfect mechanical rhythm. Everyone in the royal court marveled at the beautiful sparkling new toy bird. The royal music master praised the mechanical bird for its perfect, steady timing. He said the toy was much better than the real brown bird. The emperor ordered both birds to sing together in a grand royal duet. But the real bird sang from the heart, while the toy followed strict metal gears. The mechanical bird was asked to sing its song 33 separate times. It never grew tired, and it never made a single tiny mistake. The royal court loved the shiny toy because they could predict every note. They completely forgot about the real nightingale sitting quietly in the dark corner. While everyone was watching the mechanical toy, the real bird flew away. It flew out the open window and back to the deep green forest. When the emperor noticed the real bird was gone, he was very angry. He declared the mechanical bird to be the official singer of the empire. The real nightingale was banished from the grand city and the beautiful palace. The mechanical bird was placed on a silk pillow next to the bed. The royal music master wrote 25 heavy books praising the toy bird. The emperor listened to the mechanical song every single quiet, lonely night. A whole year passed with the mechanical bird singing its perfect, predictable song. Everyone in the grand city knew every single note by memory. They would sing along with the shiny toy bird during grand royal festivals. The mechanical perfection made them feel very safe and extremely comfortable every day. One evening, the emperor was resting in his large, comfortable royal bed. The mechanical bird was singing its usual perfect song on the silk pillow. Suddenly, a loud popping sound came from inside the shiny toy bird. Something broke inside the metal body, and the beautiful music stopped completely and instantly. The emperor jumped out of bed and called for his royal watchmaker. The watchmaker carefully opened the mechanical bird and looked at the gears. He found that the metal wheels were completely worn out from overuse. He fixed the toy, but warned the emperor to use it very rarely now. The watchmaker said the mechanical bird could only sing once a year. This news brought great sadness to the emperor and his royal court. They missed the daily music that filled the grand palace with joy. The shiny toy was now just a quiet reminder of broken mechanical perfection and sadness. 5 long years passed, and a great sorrow fell over the vast kingdom. The powerful emperor became very sick and could not leave his bed. The royal doctors shook their heads and said there was no hope left. The people gathered in the quiet streets and cried for their beloved leader. The emperor lay in his grand royal bed feeling very cold and weak. He opened his heavy eyes and saw a dark shadow in the room. Death had come to visit the sick emperor in his final quiet moments. Death wore the golden crown and held the heavy royal golden sword. Strange faces appeared in the heavy velvet curtains around the royal bed. These faces were the good and bad deeds of the sick emperor. They whispered loudly and reminded him of everything he had ever done. The sick emperor covered his ears and begged for some beautiful, loud, comforting music. The sick emperor looked at the mechanical bird resting on the silk pillow. He begged the shiny toy to sing a song to chase away death. But the mechanical bird remained completely silent because nobody wound its gears. A machine cannot offer comfort when there is no human hand to help. The room grew very cold, and the emperor felt completely alone and scared. Suddenly, a beautiful, sweet melody floated through the open royal window. The real nightingale sat on a green branch outside, singing a lovely song. The little bird had heard about the sick emperor and came to help him. The pure and gentle music filled the dark room with hope and light. As the real nightingale sang, the strange, scary faces slowly faded away. Even death stopped to listen to the beautiful and magical sweet song. The warm melody brought fresh blood flowing back into the sick, weak emperor. Death asked the little brown bird to continue singing its beautiful, sweet song. The nightingale agreed to sing if Death would return the royal crown. Death traded the golden crown for another lovely verse of pure music. The nightingale sang about quiet graveyards where white roses bloom brightly in the moonlight. The beautiful song made Death feel a deep longing for his quiet garden. Slowly, Death transformed into a cold white mist and drifted out the window. The sick emperor felt a warm, healing energy spread through his entire body. He sat up in bed and thanked the brave little brown bird. The emperor promised to break the mechanical toy into 1,000 tiny pieces. He wanted to reward the real nightingale with the highest royal honors. The little bird smiled and said the tears of the emperor were enough. The true reward was knowing that its simple song brought real healing comfort. The nightingale asked the emperor to keep their special friendship a secret. The little bird promised to visit the window every single evening to sing. It would sing about the happy people and the poor, suffering people. The bird wanted to share the absolute truth of the vast outside human world. The real bird explained that it could not live inside a silver cage. True beauty and real magic require freedom to explore the whole world. The mechanical toy was perfect, but it had no real heart or soul. Real life is messy and unpredictable, but it is full of warm love. The emperor agreed to let the little brown bird remain completely free forever. He finally understood the beautiful difference between mechanical perfection and real life. The toy could only repeat the same exact sounds without any real feeling. The real bird sang from a place of deep emotion and pure truth. The next morning, the royal servants entered the grand bedroom very quietly. They expected to find their powerful emperor completely dead and entirely cold. Instead, the emperor stood by the open window feeling strong and very healthy. He smiled brightly and wished his completely shocked servants a very good morning. This beautiful fairy tale teaches us a very important and timeless life lesson. We often get distracted by shiny things that look absolutely perfect outside. The mechanical bird was decorated with expensive diamonds and bright red rubies. But all that sparkling wealth could not provide real comfort or true healing magic. Mechanical perfection is very predictable and always follows strict, unbending rules. A machine will never surprise you with a sudden burst of pure emotion. It does exactly what it is programmed to do without any real thought. Real life, on the other hand, is full of wonderful, unexpected, beautiful, magical surprises. The real nightingale was not decorated with precious stones or shiny bright silver. It was just a simple brown bird living in the deep green forest. But its song was completely unique because it came from a living heart. That genuine emotion is what chased death away from the sick emperor. When we learn the English language, we often strive for mechanical, absolute perfection. We want to memorize every strict grammar rule and never make a mistake. We might sound like the shiny toy bird repeating the same exact phrases. But true communication requires real feeling and genuine human emotional deep connection. Do not be afraid to make small mistakes when you speak English daily. Your unique voice is much more beautiful than a perfect robotic computer voice. Speak from your warm heart and share your true feelings with the world. People will listen because your words contain real life and deep meaning. The emperor learned that you cannot control or cage true natural living beauty. When he tried to keep the bird in a cage, it became sad. When he replaced it with a machine, he lost the real magic entirely. We must appreciate beautiful things in their natural and completely free state. The friendship between the powerful emperor and the tiny bird is very special. It shows that true loyalty does not depend on heavy, rich, golden rewards. The bird returned to help the emperor simply because he needed real comfort. Real love and deep compassion are the greatest treasures in the world. Thank you for joining Fairy Tales English Journey for this wonderful classic story. We hope you learned the beautiful difference between mechanical perfection and real life. Remember to let your own unique voice sing freely like the real nightingale. Please subscribe to our channel for more amazing stories and English lessons.